Hi, it's Jill from the IC Network, and here I am in my kitchen, and I thought I would take a moment and talk a little bit about a traditional Thanksgiving Day menu, because when you're newly diagnosed with IC, the last thing you want to do is go through a meal and worry about irritating your bladder. So let's see what we can do to give you some really good food ideas. Now, I don't know about you, but I love the fall season. I love the foods of fall. I love cooking with squash. I love making butternut squash soup. I love making cookies and breads and filling my home with beautiful aromas and scents. And this is really a great time for an IC patient because so many of the foods that are commonly available now really work well for us. So let's see what we can do to incorporate some of those fall foods into our Thanksgiving Day menu. Now let's talk about appetizers, because when you go to a family member's house, the first thing they tend to do is put out some really easy nibbles. And of course the problem with nibbles is they tend to be pretty spicy and pretty heavily preserved. And that's what we need to avoid. You need to stay away from the typical IC triggers. This is foods that are high in acid, foods that are high in salt, foods that are high in alcohol, foods that are hot, spicy, chili powder based foods. And of course we all know that caffeine is to be avoided as well. And ironically, of all the courses available for a traditional Thanksgiving dinner, the one that's probably going to give you the biggest problem is going to be appetizers, because that's when you tend to cheat more. And so with your appetizers, let's keep it simple. Carrot sticks, celery sticks. How about little pieces of fresh French bread with a mild cheese on it, like mozzarella? What we don't want you to do is a salami, something that's really heavily preserved. Olives might be okay. I personally do really well with Lay's potato chips, whether it's a traditional Lay's potato chip or baked Lay's potato chip. I also tend to do well with a typical tortilla chip, but I always stay away from spicy chips, sour cream and onion, barbecue, anything like that, is just loaded up with spices, loaded up with preservatives and salt that can really irritate your bladder. So when you look at your appetizers that are available to you, think mild and eat sparingly. Okay, now if you're a family that likes to have soup for Thanksgiving, this is a great time of year for soup, and I love to make pumpkin soup and I love to make butternut squash soup. And in fact, you can find some of my recipes on the IC Network website in our IC Chef cookbook. Again, just stay away from the spicy soups. Just keep it simple. You could have a fresh pea soup, a split pea soup. I wouldn't want you to do a spicy chili-based soup. Now, for main courses, and of course the bird, we want you to keep it simple and non-preserved. So IC patients do really well with a fresh roasted turkey, a fresh roasted chicken, a roast beef, although there are some people who say that red meat can irritate their IBS a little bit more. That certainly never happened to me, but I do have a family member who struggles with red meat. So roast beef might not be a good choice for people who are sensitive, and of course roast pork. But for Thanksgiving, listen, you can't go wrong with a traditional roast turkey. I always try to find an organic turkey at a local butcher shop. That tends to work best for me, rather than one of the kind of mass marketed supermarket heavily salted turkeys that are out there. And of course, we want you to stay away from main courses that are heavily seasoned and with sauces, like a barbecue sauce. Maybe this is not the best time to have a barbecued rib meal. This is a much better time to have a simple roast turkey meal. Now, luckily, the vast majority of veggies tend to be pretty IC friendly. So you want to have mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes, I say go for it. You want to have peas, green beans, broccoli, great, enjoy, chow down. But you might be smart to avoid the heavily gas-producing foods like cauliflower or Brussels sprouts, because IC patients tend to have a little bit more of a sensitive bowel, and the last thing you need during the holidays is a big gas attack. So let's stay away from some of the gas-producing foods. Now, in terms of breads, we have kind of mixed reviews about breads. Some people say that sourdough should be avoided. Now, of course, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, the home of sourdough. I've never had a flare from sourdough bread. What I look for are breads that are freshly baked at a bakery. I try not to buy the older preserved rolls that are frozen at a grocery store. I like the fresh stuff, and if I can make it myself, the better. And maybe you've got a baker in your family, someone who loves to bake, who can bring some fresh baked bread or dinner rolls to your meal. Now, the best part of the meal, of course, is dessert. Oh, you know, come on, it's the fall season. Is there a better time for fresh baked apple pie, apple tarts, pear tarts, pumpkin pies, sweet potato pies? Oh my goodness, I think we all, well, I don't know about you, but I love dessert. I could eat a lot of dessert. And so again, let's focus on this, on the milder foods. So pumpkin pie should be fine. Sweet potato pie should be fine. An apple pie should be fine, and a pear tart should be fine. But again, homemade tends to be better because it's not as heavily preserved. And we want you to stay away from the chocolate. And so if you're going to have ice cream, you know, get a nice French vanilla ice cream and put it on top of your pie. Let your family members eat the chocolate. You don't need to eat the chocolate because you don't need a flare. Now, of course, the other kind of thing that we ask is, what should we be drinking? And of course, you know that sodas are out, but if you need something special and something sparkly, why don't you get yourself some sparkling mineral water like San Pellegrino mineral water. It's a low sodium mineral water, so it shouldn't be that irritating to your bladder. If you want something hot to drink, you know, you can do a peppermint herbal tea or a chamomile herbal tea, or you could even get some pear juice or some apple juice. I like to dilute it 2-to-1 with water, and I mull it with some cinnamon and some cloves. And that's just a very soothing, comforting, aromatic drink to enjoy on a cold day. And of course, wine. You know, this is a question that comes up frequently, is can I drink wine? Now, we did a big survey on our website where we asked patients what alcohols bothered them and didn't bother them. And amazingly, the worst alcohols in general were wines. Those bothered the vast majority of patients, but there was a significant variation in the types of wines. There are high acid wines like sparkling wines and champagnes, which bother almost everybody. I know that if I drink even a quarter cup of champagne, I feel it. It's really awful. But I can get away with a low acid wine like a Merlot wine. Now, I never drink a lot of it. I might drink just a glass. Sometimes I dilute it with some sparkling mineral water to make myself a little wine cooler. But there are some wines that are lower in acid. And we did a big article on our website about the high acid wines as compared to the low acid wines. You're thinking of Chardonnay as a fairly good low acid white wine. Merlot is a fairly good low-acid red wine, but there are lots more options, and you can find those over on our website. And again, be very, very careful of the sparkling wines and the champagnes because those tend to irritate a lot of people. Also, beers were found to bother a lot of IC patients, but not all of them. The beers that tended to do the best for patients were the pale ales, like a Molson Golden, or well, you know, just the typical golden amber pale ales. Those did better than the darker beers. Now, ironically, what was really interesting about this alcohol survey is that it confirmed many patient reports about straight alcohol. IC patients have often found that while they can't drink wine, they might be able to drink a little bit of a straight alcohol or a mixed drink like a vodka tonic or something like that. And this survey, yet again, showed that. We certainly saw that some patients did well with a mixed drink. Not a lot, but a little. And of course, the mixed drink should not be using cranberry juice or orange juice. But if it's a light rum, or a light vodka, or a lighter alcohol, you might be able to get away with a little tiny bit of it. But again, it's all about moderation. It's never about doing a lot of alcohol because you know you're going to irritate your bladder. And of course, you know, we just have to be prudent here. We want you to have a joyful holiday season, and if you drink a lot of alcohol, you're not, because it's going to hurt your bladder. So anyway, listen, those are a few Thanksgiving Day ideas. I hope that those help, and I really hope that you have a joyful Thanksgiving. And as always, please come to our website. We have a lot of diet information on our website. We have an online cookbook called the IC Chef Cookbook. In our support forum, we have a big recipe archive where patients submit their favorite recipes, so you'll find hundreds of IC-friendly recipes there. And of course, Bev Lauman, the author of A Taste of the Good Life, a cookbook for an IC diet, has written many columns for us, including several holiday columns that will give you some great ideas for some holiday menu items. So, good luck and happy holidays.